Welcome to The Perspective. I'm Mike Sherbino. Delighted that you're with us today. And here all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, are the new marriage experts on the block, Dan and Danielle Macaulay. I say that a little tongue-in-cheek. They've been involved in marriage ministries for years, but it's taken a whole new twist, and we're excited to hear about that. They've written a new book called The Triangle Effect that we're going to be unpacking in a few moments. Along with an incredible music ministry that Dan has had and a speaking ministry that Danielle has had and a writing ministry, they've combined together to come up with something very special for this time. And I just want to welcome them today to the program. So glad that you guys are with us.
Buzzy. Here, hey, Mike, I thought you were going to say we were a newly married couple, and that is definitely...
We are far from that now.
Yeah, you're far from that. As they say, that ship has sailed.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so just give us a quick update from Nashville, a big move down there over a year ago.
Yeah, we moved down to Nashville here from Buffalo. So we were just across the river from you over in Buffalo for 10 years. But now here in Nashville for, gosh, it's almost 2 years. It's a little over a year and a half, something like that. And it's warmer. You like that part?
Today, yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. You've had a big transition with your ministry. Bring us up to date on that and what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, so as you had said, for so long since Dan's been a teenager, so I won't say how long that is exactly, but it's been a while. Dan has been a worship leader, a recording artist. That's what most people would know him for, me with the writing and speaking. But just about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, we were asked to be a part of the marriage television show A Better Us with Ron and Ann Maines, which we love doing. But at first we're like, I don't know. Are we qualified for that? I'm not sure. But we dove in, and over time, what we just realized is, wow, we're learning from the experts. We are growing as a married couple. It was really the best thing that ever could happen to our marriage. And then a few years ago, finally, we said, you know what? I think we have something to say now. And we don't come from a place of even near perfection. We're learning and growing alongside everyone else. But now in the last year, especially, we've just transitioned to a whole bunch of marriage ministry. And wow, it hits different doing marriage ministry. It's awesome.
I'm saying, so Dan, you're sitting there smiling. Are you agreeing with everything?
I agree with all of it. Yeah, it's funny. Along the way, functioning as an artist, I was being put by a few different promoters on some tours where I would tour with another author, speaker couple, or a comedian like Leland Clausen or somebody, or Steve Geyer. And it would be couples events, and I would just be providing the music aspect. And I kind of learned how to fit in that context and even be funny and stuff along the way to create a fun kind of day-night atmosphere. And then, after a few years of doing the marriage television show, the Lord started laying it on our hearts to, we could carry the speaking thing. And so kind of marry that with some of the other stuff that I had already been doing and create these date night events that we have been doing all across the U.S. since we've moved down here and focus on that. We've seen a whole bunch of places we've never seen before.
Yeah, and
Colorado.
And what we've discovered is we're really filling a hole in the church, the Big C church, for marriage ministry. There's 100,000 million and one worship leaders out there, speakers, all that kind of thing. But there's not a lot of people who are doing marriage ministry. And, a strong marriage...
Not comparatively, yeah.
Yeah, a strong marriage leads to a strong family, and a strong families make strong churches, and strong churches make strong communities. So we're just so glad this fell in our lap, and we feel honored that the Lord is trusting us with it. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited just to hear this because I've seen you both in action individually and as a group, as a couple. And your ability to communicate with audiences is huge. And the content that you bring is absolutely wonderful. So you've put together a devotional book called The Triangle Effect.
I happen to have one here, so people can see what it looks like.
Yeah, it's even got triangles on it.
It's got triangles. It's got a mesmerizing Twilight Zone style
And on the back, there's some geometry going on.
Oh, man.
We don't know much about math, but we're learning about marriage. Yeah.
So what is it all
Stir up,
about?
mystery of what is the triangle effect? What is this?
Well, tell us.
Okay. Well, we didn't invent the idea of the triangle effect. We just kind of coined the phrase, perhaps, and are basing the concept. I mean, the concept of a devotional will do that anyways. But the idea of the triangle effect is that if you have a triangle, if God's at the top and the two of you are at the bottom corners here, then the closer that you come to God, the closer you actually become together too. And that's really what the whole idea of it is. And really the idea of doing a devotional together, being connected, not only in the day-to-day, managing a family, your finances, sexually, all the different ways that you would connect as a husband and wife. Sometimes the spiritual side gets neglected and we kind of leave that out. But when we realize we're both serving the same Father, and the closer that we come to Him, the closer we end up together as well.
Yeah.
I love
And
it.
we've kind of joked to couples, it's important to spend personal time with the Lord, obviously. Might not be able to happen every day. So we're like, hey, if you can do this 30 day devotional actually in 30 days, then kudos to you.
Rock stars.
But if you can't get to it, if it takes you more like 3 months or whatever, then
30 weeks.
no judgment, because we're all busy. But the aim of connecting is important, crucial for sure.
So let me ask you kind of a technical question. If only one of the party, one spouse, is seeking God, pursuing Him, how does it work, or does it work?
Yeah, I think it does. If you look at, that triangle kind of thing, if only one couple is moving up the triangle closer to God, if you actually measure that distance mathematically, that's actually still closer together than both of you out on the wings. So, I mean, if you want to get technical on that, but practically in life, I think it works absolutely. Because the closer you become to the Lord and more time you spend with Him, the more like Him you become. And that's just going to make you a better partner in marriage, period. I mean, who wouldn't like to be married to someone a little bit more like Jesus, right? So the benefits of getting closer to the Lord, even if your spouse isn't quite there yet, it for sure raises the level in your marriage.
And some other numbers to throw at you. I know we said we're not into math. This is about as much as we know. But when one person out of a couple decides, I want to make myself better, I want to do something that's going to improve my life and my health and my relationship with the Lord, then automatically 50% of the couple improves because you are 50%. So we always tell couples, you go first. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's instruction in the word for being married to an unbeliever, and it's basically, if you want to sum it down, is be an example for them. Let your light shine before them. Like I believe it's talking to wives, particular if your husbands are not, believers yet, is to show them with your life that this is something that is good and valuable, and so there's a witnessing. If you find yourself even in a unevenly yoked situation like that, can bear witness to your spouse. And it just, again, makes you an easier person, hopefully, to be married to by becoming, more like Jesus, more like love.
Well, help me before we go to the break, because I got a lot more questions about this. How do you do all of this with kids? How do you bring them along?
That is a trick.
We're still figuring that one out. Yeah. We have the luxury of having older kids right now, but I can remember those younger years. So those, you know what? Trying, making an effort. It's going to be imperfect effort, but doing your best to schedule it in the same way you would schedule some other things. Again, even if it's not daily, that would be my advice is, we make time for the things that we value. And so if we value this and this relationship here, that triangle, then we'll make time for it.
I love that. We're going to come back in just a moment with Dan and Danielle, and we're going to be sharing how you can get a hold of them to come and speak to your organization or to your church. And guys, you'll be happy to know we're broadcasting in the States now. We're streaming as well. So the word's going to get out all over. But as you're watching today, if you're struggling maybe in your own marriage and wondering, is there hope? Who can I talk to? Why don't you call our toll-free number, 855-910-6297. There's people waiting to chat with you, and we're going to chat more with Dan and Danielle in just a moment. Stay with us. Hey, welcome back to The Perspective. Mike Sherbino here, and I'm delighted that Dan and Danielle Macaulay are with us all the way from Nashville. I wish they were here in our studio, but they're Zooming in today. Guys, so glad to have you. And you look amazing for what you've been through. How many years of marriage?
23. It'll be 24 in May.
Okay, that's amazing. I've got you beat by a little bit. I won't say how much today, but let's go back to talking about your book. One of the things that we share a mutual affinity for is to see couples draw closer to God. And how is your book going to help them and what you're teaching? Are there some, pearls of wisdom you're going to drop on us today that will just help us move the yardstick a little farther?
Yeah, well, I mean, we try to have some fun with it to make it a little bit easier to do. So there's a lot of fun topics in here. One of the topics is simply called fun.
Yeah.
Or the idea of having fun together. And we have some fun titles: fruit farming, sharing the seesaw, bridge building, cameras and communication, which has a funny story
Yeah.
about us in the mix.
What not to do.
Yeah.
Communication-wise.
Yeah. So we cover a lot of ground. There's one on sex. There's a devotion on sex. We
Right there.
Wow.
Right.
That's got to be a bestseller.
So there's lots of them. One of my favorite in here is actually called fruit farming. It's one of the ones that I wrote, and it kind of I mention it because it kind of harkens to the entire idea of what the triangle effect even is. And fruit farming is the idea that that as we spend time with Jesus, it produces fruit in our lives. Danielle and I have a podcast also called Married Up that we do, and on the last season, one of the episodes that we did was actually every episode had to do with 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind, all of those, and every episode was one of those. So as we were going through them, it became apparent that, well, there's a lot of like self-help ideas out there about how do I be more patient? Or how can I be more kind? Okay, so I'm going to be patient. So I'm going to really work hard at being patient. I'm going to count to 10, before I yell at my kids, or I'm going to, all these things that I'm going to, cognitively try and do. But I think we make a mistake when we try and make the Bible a self-help book. There's a lot of people that treat the Bible like a self-help book. Like, I'm going to pull myself up by my bootstraps, and I'm going to produce this fruit in my life. I'm going to somehow be more patient. I'm going to be more kind. And I'm going to be more gentle. And I'm going to have more self-control. And I'm going to be less selfish and less prideful and all of these things. When really, I think if you treat the Bible like a self-help book, you treat it exactly backwards. The Bible actually is all about telling us and teaching us the Israelites spent centuries learning that they can't do it on their own strength, that obeying the law and being good enough just doesn't work. That's religion. And so the idea of fruit farming is, listen, it's not about trying to be more patient and be more kind and be a better spouse that way. It's about spending time with Jesus. Jesus said in John that if you remain in me and I remain in you, you will produce much fruit. He said, actually, apart from me, you can do nothing. And so really, one of the best things that you can do for your marriage is spend time with Jesus, and the fruit will magically produce itself. You'll just magically become more of all of those things.
Yeah. And practically what a book like this can do is, when we want to have any type of result, if we want to lose weight, get healthy, we have to pay attention. We have to count our calories. We have to do things that will move the needle. And so we just say, you know what, we're just going to pay attention to our marriage. This is going to force us to pay attention and move the needle.
And that's one of your titles on there. Another fun title is that marriage is like your waistline.
It's like your waistline, because if you don't pay attention to it, it will drift in a direction you don't want it to go. And so it doesn't have to be rocket science. The triangle effect, it's not this, Elon Musk didn't have to come up with it. It's, we are just giving a tool for couples to pay attention to their marriage. And it's a funny thing when you do that. I think it's Ruth Cho Simons who coined the phrase, you become what you behold. What you pay attention to, you will become more like that.
That is very helpful to hear. And I've heard variations of that in the past, but I needed you to be reminded of that today. Give me some practical advice for couples that are watching today. Maybe it's just a spouse, one person watching, and they're saying, I've got some real struggles today. How do I begin to take at least one step forward?
Yeah. Right feelings follow right actions. So there's a lot of couples who just, say they fall out of love, or they're just not feeling it in their relationship, and it's going down a bad path. And, there's certain things that we did to fall in love with each other. And so it only makes sense to start doing those same things again to stay in love and to bring those feelings back. And when we do the things that we know we're supposed to do, the right things, eventually the feelings will follow. So we have to go back and start doing. And it's funny, we just take those little steps. And obviously, if there's couples in crisis and things like that, there's outside intervention that needs to be helped. But if you're just a couple who are saying, yeah, I need a little nudge in the right direction, just start doing the things that are the things that will help you stay in love.
Yeah, and one of the chapters that Danielle talks about, and she always talks about at our live events too, is even just changing your thinking about your spouse. You'll change so much in your marriage. Even like she encourages people to take the Philippians 4, love is good, and think about whatever is good and pure and true. And even write those out, and then begin to think about, okay, what's good about my husband? What's good about my, what's pure, what's honorable, and begin to make that list. Because sometimes we tell ourselves, well, we tend to find what we're looking for. So if we're focused on all the negative things, and it can quickly become a downward spiral where we find all the negative things that prove our self-talk true. Whereas if we begin to think even positive things, find the good, don't make things up. I'm not saying that, but there is good in everybody. And there is good in your spouse, even if you're struggling to like them at the moment. Think about what's good about them, and you'll begin to realize that there's a lot that's good there, and it will shift your thinking in your marriage, your entire marriage, just by the way you think about your marriage.
Guys, our time is up. I'm so glad you added those things at the end, because just even the mind shift is so important. And I want to encourage people to get a copy of The Triangle Effect. I'm assuming you can get it at Amazon and all the good places.
Yeah.
It's not McDonald's or Burger King, but at Amazon.
Not there, but Amazon, yeah.
Good. And you can see the how to find Dan and Danielle Macaulay at the bottom of your screen if you'd like them to come and speak at your event. And I encourage that. We've had them here at the church I lead. I'm looking forward to having you come back again. We miss you guys.
Oh,
Thanks
you
for taking the time to be here.